welcome back Loic Le Meur.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. This is going to be a very exciting afternoon. We're going to start with the Internet of Things with Fitbit and YThings, who are in the same space, and we're going to start right now about this. Then we have, we're going to talk about sports, kite surfing, and running with Scott Dunlap, who does a marathon like you wash your teeth. He does a marathon every week or more, I think, and how it connects and relates to entrepreneurship, which I think is a very interesting topic. I hope you do as well. Then we have very, very interesting sessions with Indiegogo and with Kevin Systrom, all the way into flying at Mach 3 this afternoon with Brian Schul. So, pretty excited. We will start by welcoming the founder of Fitbit, which I have here, and we'll talk about that, James Park. James, if you want to join. Welcome, James, and thanks for coming all the way. Looks like you have a few fans here.
Okay, yeah.
So you make this?
Yes. So that you're holding the Fitbit 1, which is our latest activity and sleep tracker. So it's a tiny device that you wear all day, and it tracks a variety of metrics about your activity, your steps, distance, calories, your sleep quality. And it syncs directly with your iPhone 4S or iPhone 5. And all this data is uploaded to our website where you can view your stats, compete with friends and family across a variety of metrics.
So yeah, so let's go right into the product if you allow me, because I like this. I'm pretty excited by the connected health topic. So I've been wearing one of them for a while, and if I click here, let's see if I can show it here. That's the number of steps. 2002 today.
Not bad.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm at 2,200. So.
22.5. Well, you know, my steps here, it's really between the speaker's green room and this, so it's not that much. Then what you have is the number of stairs, but you know, I think it's in California time. Oh,
California
I'm on
time.
San Francisco time.
You might have missed some steps.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's set on California time, that's why. But here you have, so explain me what you have on it.
Yeah, so we have...
what is this flower?
It's a little flower. It's an avatar. So it shrinks and grows based on how active you are.
Yeah.
So actually, kids really like this. And adults, too.
I'm really happy
so if you're very inactive, it'll shrink down and be very sad
so it's
looking.
5 a.m., that's why.
Yeah. I think I'm still on California time.
Yeah, so the steps...
2 floors. So this device has 2 sensors, a motion sensor and a pressure sensor. So the pressure sensor is what we use to detect how many floors you've climbed. So it's great for office workers where you're thinking, should I take the steps or the elevator?
Yep.
Why not take the steps and win your step badge for the day?
I love having my fingers in HD like this. It's scary. So steps, and then you have calories.
Calories and distance and also sleep quality as well. So you can wear the device at night, and it will tell you how many times you've woken up, the general quality of your sleep, and give you basically a sleep efficiency score as well. So we have a lot of users who wear the device, discover that they've been waking up 40 to 50 times throughout the night, go to the doctor sends them to the sleep lab. It confirms the results that they're having sleep problems, and they get prescribed...
the sleep lab?
Basically, it's a lab you go to, and they observe you throughout the night. Yeah, sleeping. So they measure your heart rate, your EEG, and they try to diagnose whether you have a serious sleep problem. And a lot of times, the sleep lab does confirm the results of our device, and the user gets prescribed what's called a CPAP machine, which keeps their airways open at night. And you can, for a lot of users, instantly see the improvement in their sleep score right afterwards.
Have you done that yourself?
I sleep like a rock, so rarely am I waking up more than 2 times a night.
Okay.
So.
And you're lucky. And then it syncs with your iPhone, right? So if we can switch, let's switch to my phone here. Let's see. I'll grab it without disconnecting it, hopefully. So that's my activity from the phone. Yeah. So again, this is from this is on California time, so it's 5 a.m. That's why I don't have much. But you can see my activities logged. You can see, well, I don't have a weight, but if I have weight, and there is a social, a button as well. Yeah. So you make me compete with my friends. Is that what it does?
Yeah, you can compete with friends and family, and actually, it's a great motivational tool for a lot of people.
And now you don't need to connect it, which is very cool. It's just Bluetooth.
Yeah, so with the launch of the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 5, both of those phones have Bluetooth 4.0. So we are able to sync directly with smartphones in a very low power way. That's what's exciting about the latest iPhones.
Yeah, and it finds it very easily.
Yeah.
So no hassle. Can you not put a 3G chip in there to get into a really connected object?
Too power hungry. And
oh, really?
It costs money to pay for that data as well. So either the consumer would have to pay for it, or we would have to subsidize it in some way. And too much power, the device would get bigger. So there's a lot of constraints that prevent.
Because how long does this stay? What's the autonomy?
It lasts about a week between charges.
Yeah, which is great. So. Tell me the story. How did you start? Because you were a startup entrepreneur before, Fitbit?
Yeah, so Fitbit's the third company that I've started. The last startup, my co-founder and I sold to CNET in 2005, and it had nothing to do with hardware. We were making peer-to-peer desktop photo sharing software. We sold that to CNET. We were there for a couple years, and the spark for Fitbit really happened in late 2006. That was when the Nintendo Wii came out. And I was one of the first people to get a Wii in the US. I waited at Best Buy at 6 a.m. with my wife, who was a great sport. Took the console home, started using Wii Play, and I was just fascinated by the way Nintendo had taken motion sensors and combined it with incredible software to change the way people thought about gaming at the time. It was no longer something that was sedentary. It was something that was very active. And they did it at a very, very affordable price, too, which was another part of the magic. So my co-founder, Eric, and I started thinking about ways of, how do we deliver this magic into a more portable form for people so that you're not shackled to the living room. And that was the start of Fitbit. And
when was that? 2000?
That was early 2007. That we started thinking about starting a company around this idea. And the name Fitbit, startups always have a challenge finding a good name for their company.
It's a pain.
It's a huge pain.
And .com is not available.
Exactly.
So you can use .co like we did for LeWeb.
Yeah, so we went through hundreds of names, and I don't know if how many people have tried to name a company here, but when you get into that mode of trying to find a name, you start thinking about it all the time, like even when you're sleeping. And one day, I was just taking a nap on my rug in my home office. I just woke up and said Fitbit. And
great.
Yeah, that was it. And my co-founder liked it too, which usually doesn't.
It's great. So you start this, and you had never done hardware before.
Right.
And I think like my experience from watching this space for a few months, preparing this program, is that you order, there's delay that entrepreneurs don't expect. Yeah, they think that they can deliver hardware in 6 months, and it takes 12 or 18. What's your experience from the moment? What did you think it would take to create the first version of Fitbit, and what it ended up being?
We were pretty naive, to be honest.
Thanks for being honest.
We announced the product at a conference in late 2008, and we were expecting to ship Christmas of that year. And we had been, developing product for about 8 months prior to that. We ended up shipping 1 year later. So, and we had been taking pre-orders at the time, but we were pretty conservative. We actually didn't take payment from people. We only took their credit card information and told them we would charge their card when the product actually shipped. So people were essentially just putting their name onto a list. Yet they still got upset when the product was delayed, which was kind of an interesting observation of humanity. But what I'm amazed is a lot of those early pre-order users actually were pretty patient. We had a blog where we detailed a lot of the development progress of the product, very similar to what you see on the Kickstarter updates today. And a lot of that, I think, helped cement the loyalty of all those early users. And when we finally launched in late 2009, a lot of those users just didn't cancel their order, and we shipped the Fitbits for them for Christmas, and it was good.
Why this form factor instead of a wristband, like the Nike Fuel Band or Jawbone?
Yeah. So with wearables, I think there's no one-size-fits-all solution. A lot of people have different preferences, and I think what's interesting to see now is I like to call it Cambrian explosion of different approaches to the market. Wrist products, clippable products. Some people like showing off the fact that they're tracking their daily activity. Other people want to be more discreet. Some people are more worried about fashion, et cetera. So I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all approach to the market. So I think being a participant in this space, it's been pretty interesting to see all the different approaches.
Tell me about the space. So we have actually one of your competitors coming in just after you, Whitethings. So that's one. Then you have the two like Jawbone Up and Nike, the Nike Band. So how do you see your space? Pretty hot right now.
Yeah, it's been rewarding to see, because when we started the company in 2007, we had a very challenging time convincing investors that a product like this was something that people would buy in large amounts. A lot of investors were triathletes, so they got really hung up on the notion that this was not a product that fulfilled their needs, therefore they couldn't quite understand the promise behind it. But now I think it's very clear. Some of the early challenges we had as well was convincing retailers to create a category for this product.
And you did, right?
We did. I mean, we worked closely with Best Buy in the beginning. So we originally launched on our website, and then we had a very limited test with Best Buy in the US, 4 stores, and then it grew to 40, and then we rolled out to all of their stores, about 600.
That's because they test you, I guess.
They test us, yeah. So actually at the time, they had a huge section devoted to DVDs, and they realized that people weren't going to be buying DVDs in the future. So they were looking for a replacement category for that section, and they were testing a few different, not only categories, but products within the category. So we managed to survive that entire gauntlet, which took about a year. And that was great initial validation. We used that success with Best Buy to win over other retailers.
How about Europe
as well? So globally, we're carried in about 10,000 stores. So you can tell that this whole concept is becoming way more mainstream. 7,000 stores in the United States, Best Buy, Brookstone, REI, Target, AT&T, Verizon. And in Europe, about 3,000 locations, Carrefour, Decathlon, Auchan, et cetera.
And you didn't use, sorry, jumping back on your funding, you didn't use Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and
no, I wish those platforms existed.
Really?
So,
you wish you would have done it? And then Lockitron, that will have later raised $2 million.
Yeah, I think it's great for them. I talked to them early on when they were raising money from VCs, and we experienced the same thing. VCs are, unless you have a certain pedigree and experience, very skeptical of hardware companies, the inventory requirements, the engineering challenges, et cetera. So I think
How
Kickstarter.
much did you raise?
We raised total about $23.5 million over 4 rounds to date.
Wow.
But for the first version of our product, it took us only about $2 million to bring it to market. But actually, that amount in hindsight was scarily low, and there's no way I would only raise $2 million again.
So same, you needed much more funding.
Yes. To sleep well at night, I think you need a lot more funding because mistakes in hardware are very expensive. for instance, and it's very time-consuming as well. So if you make a mistake in your board design, it might take 4 weeks to get another spin of the board back from the fab. Tooling is very expensive. A lot of times, to get the design right, you might want to have multiple parallel tools built which have different designs to solve a problem. But if you don't have the money, you have to make an educated guess as to which approach might be the best. And if it doesn't work out, then you're kind of starting at at point zero again. One instance is we spend a lot of time trying to waterproof our device, and we have a button on the device. Water sealing buttons is actually pretty interesting problem, and we actually built 4 different tools to test out 4 different approaches to water sealing the button. With much less capital, we'd have to kind of pick one and hope it works out.
How about stock? That must be terrible for an entrepreneur willing to launch a product. I guess I've never done it, so I have no clue. But I guess you always have either too many devices or not enough, and then it gets very expensive.
Yeah, I think forecasting's a challenge. So I think part of running a good operation is negotiating very good terms with your manufacturer. If they believe in you, they'll grant you net 30 or net 60-day credit terms, which help a lot, because what happens on the retail side is they won't be paying you for 60 or 90 days afterwards. And that's what the terms say. Even beyond that, you actually have to chase them down a lot of the time to pay you. So we actually have a few people on our team who are dedicated to ringing up Best Buy and saying, "Where's our payment?" These are all the little pieces that have to go together to have a pretty efficient operation.
What would be your advice for the entrepreneurs because I see that a lot in Silicon Valley these days, and I bet in Europe as well, like they try to do hardware. And like you at the beginning, they don't know anything about it. So what would be your advice to them if they want to get into the Internet of Things hardware manufacturing?
I think there's a lot more investors who are receptive today to investing in hardware companies. Like, I think we're very fortunate to have very forward-thinking investors. Brad Feld at Foundry Group, the guys at True Ventures, Jeff Clavier, and both Foundry and True have put a lot of money into different hardware startups like Siftio, MakerBot, et cetera. So there's definitely a larger pool of investors today willing to invest in hardware, but I think Kickstarter and Indiegogo are actually great ways to fund your hardware. I think the cautionary tale is, you have to be very realistic about the timeframes. I look at a lot of the projects being posted on Kickstarter. You can instantly look at the state of where they are, where they think they're going to launch, and instantly they're never going to meet it.
Right.
So I think entrepreneurs just have to be honest with themselves. It's going to save them a lot of pain on the back end. Reading comments on Kickstarter where people are getting very upset with you about your late deliveries, that's never pleasant. So just avoid it from the beginning.
James, just to finish, it's always frustrating. I would talk for 2 hours with you on this. The sessions at LeWeb are like tweets, they go. The future. And I know you can't comment much on the future of Fitbit because this is such a competitive space. But on the future of connected objects in general, how does it look like, I don't know, in 5 years? Because you can measure your sleep, you measure your steps, you measure the energy you're burning, you measure your blood. We saw that with Gil, that you can, you know so much data from your body now. Do you think we'll have like almost self-medication somehow, that we'll get to a point that we'll see doctors less just because all those devices and apps will tell us, hey, be careful, you drink too much wine, Loic, or you...
I don't think we'll see the doctor less, but I think the times that we do go see the doctor, they'll be much better informed about how you live your life outside of those office visits. So right now, at least in the US, you see your doctor once a year. They ask you a bunch of questions. I don't know if you ever watched the show House MD, but the motto, the slogan of the show is "Everybody lies," right? So, how many people are honest with their doctor? Probably partially honest, but if you have the data that's being collected over the course of a year, the data doesn't lie. So it only helps you to have that very honest record. of your life history, and it helps your doctor make better decisions. So I think I don't see a point in the shorter medium term where the human doctor is completely eliminated from the picture. I think that's kind of utopian. But I do see it being a very assistive technology for physicians.
Can I have a GPS in mind?
Maybe it consumes a lot of power, but we're always looking at things
when you
like
run,
that,
it would be really nice to have an accurate, very accurate,
Yes. Yes.
And I'm not blaming Fitbit. It's just if it doesn't have a GPS, of course, it would be better to have that. Can I have that? Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. You'll be on the beta list. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much, James. Thank you very much.
Great.
And you'll be around.
I'll be around.
How do we get in touch with you? At Fitbit.
jpark@fitbit.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much, James.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.